Hello, LinkedIn. Happy, what is it, Wednesday? Oh man, days are flying by. Okay, quick. I want to take a moment and talk to you about Eric Seufert's recent post about creative testing. So some of you may have seen we published a recent piece about creative optimization using deterministic data, and I'm so happy that he's also doing the same. I think by now everyone understands that there's limited campaign IDs to play with, and that each campaign ID is correlated with one ad set and one creative in order for you to attribute a particular conversion value to a particular creative. Otherwise, it's a mess, right? So if you want to correlate a particular conversion value to a particular creative, then you have to create very few creatives because you only have 100 campaign IDs. And if you're creating very few creatives before, and comparing this to before, you would have tons of creatives per campaign, and you would test creatives at scale with very small variations between creatives. Now it's all about creating new concepts, which can essentially take more time and more energy, and imagine doing all of that on probabilistic data or deterministic data on only 24 hours. Most ad networks, including Facebook and Google, are not allowing attribution windows to extend beyond 72 hours because the SK ad network timer just messes up beyond that point. And I think we all know that it's pretty rare for users to make purchases, which essentially means that they are whales or high LTV users within 72 hours or within 3 days. It's pretty improbable, especially if you consider games. Users typically make purchases within 25 to 30 days. And so considering that you're spending so much time and energy on creating completely new creative concepts, you're not going to know which campaign ID or which correlates to that individual creative even drove a freaking purchase. So revenue KPIs are not going to be attributed with any form of determinism or accuracy to the campaign ID or the creative. So for example, let's say you have hypothetically 3 users. Now we don't know anything about users, but let's say there were 3 users, right? And all 3 users were acquired from 3 different campaigns. 72 hours was the attribution window, right? And now let's say that these 3 users, the first user installed the game, and played for X number of hours, and that's it, completed level 1, right? So the conversion value was fired for that. Let's say these 2 other users, they installed the game and it was just a busy day, it was a weekday or whatever, and they left the game, but they came back that weekend, meaning after 5 days. So by this time, the attribution window is closed. But these 2 users, they ended up spending another $100 or so in in-app purchases in the game over the next 2-3 months. However, the conversion values for these 3 users is going to be the same because the attribution window is 72 hours. Even if that game was firing events in the background, they're still going to have the same conversion values because you can't fabricate conversion events. Either they're modeling on historical data, which only goes so far because history only goes so far. After some time, where we are today is going to be history. And so no. There's a very simple way for you to still get deterministic revenue data and optimize your creatives that you're now going to spend so much time and energy to think about completely new concepts, and your creative team has to spend that extra time, and it's just going to be a little bit more of guesswork of like whether this creative is good or not, or whether it's going to perform or not. So you can eliminate the guesswork just by one step. So basically just take a promo code and plug it into the ad. That's it. If you already have promo code redemption functionality, whether you're a game or a shopping app or a subscription app, Message.us will help you out with that in a way that's compliant with Apple, of course. And so now let's say that you give the user a promo code for first time users, and it was something like to unlock their first purchase, 50% off their first purchase, a discount or reward, something. And you're giving the user the time to do that. You're not constraining them and say, okay, do this in 3 days or no conversion data. Users may take 14 days, 20 days or so to make the purchase, which is natural, right? And but when they do, even if your attribution window has passed, even if it's past that 72-hour period, you're still gonna get deterministic conversion data. because that user plugged in that promo code. Or there's a simpler way to there's another way to do this where users don't have to remember alphanumeric promo codes, which obviously increases conversion rates because users have to remember and type it in and autocorrect and all that. And we found that essentially when users were meant to do that, with deep linking aside, because it's not going to be deterministic on iOS 14, what users were doing is they were taking screenshots of the promo code and saving it for later. And when they were ready, they would go and plug it in and remember and plug it in. And so now what you can do is you can essentially encrypt the ad creative with the promo code itself and just ask the user, hey, watch the ad, whatever, and take a screenshot of this ad creative or influencer content and go and upload it into the app or game, and you'll get your promo, which is always tied to a purchase, right? And if it's an app that has Apple transactions, it's always tied to an in-app purchase. And so when the user makes that in-app purchase, whenever that may happen, you get to attribute deterministic revenue data to your ad creative. And so you can say with certainty that out of these 5 or 6 creative concepts that our team spends so much time and energy to come up with, this is the one that actually drives revenue, real actual revenue. Okay, so if you want more help with this, ping me and we'll be happy to help you out.